And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Starting off with today's satellite loop, not much going on out here over the Bering Sea. We've got a weak system out here way out toward the Komodorsky Islands and toward Russia. Otherwise, some clouds here over the southeast Bering Sea, and different story here. Pretty good low pressure, a couple of low centers, one down in this area, another one right here, and kind of one right in that area, all kind of moving northwestward, grazing the southeast coast here with some gusty winds and light rain, with moisture coming up mostly offshore here, but this band of cirrus kind of breaking up as it comes through, but a thicker band with some moisture back to the west here will be sliding back to the east, will be sliding westward, with moisture in areas of light snow streaming northward across the eastern interior. And looking at this again, these clouds out through here kind of dissipating and starting to drop southward, with diminishing winds now over the eastern Bering Sea. And on the forecast for tonight, that low center pulls northwestward here to the southeastern Gulf of Alaska. Front keeps it wet over the Panhandle, actually increases the rainfall there. It gets a little more widespread with some possible gales here along the north coast of the Panhandle and eastern North Gulf Coast, with maybe some gusts of 50 miles per hour. Moisture spreads into Prince William Sound and the eastern Kenai Peninsula, Turnagain Arm area, and the trough extending north brings snow mostly from the Alaska Range across the eastern interior, Tanana Valley, in along the Yukon River northward, all the way up to the Arctic coast. Scattered snow showers back here to the west. And again, the northerly winds diminishing in this area, but seeing a little gusty there for the Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island, actually picking up a little bit here as that low center pulls up to the northwest, and somewhat higher pressure here to the west developing ahead of that front that spreads rain into the western Aleutians. And tomorrow that will swing eastward, spreading rain into Adak and Atka area to the north, but not quite reaching the Pribilof Islands. And again, winds out of the northwest, maybe up to 35 miles an hour in the Alaska Peninsula, with some rain and snow showers. Isolated light snow showers here along the west coast of Nunivak Island, Yukon Delta coast, northern Seward Peninsula. Areas of light snow across the entire north slope in the Arctic coast, right down to the crest of the Brooks Range, associated with that weak low there near Dead Horse. This system now right into the northern Gulf of Alaska, and that's going to push some snow, a couple of bands of snow coming across south central Alaska tomorrow, with mixed precipitation for the North Gulf Coast, mainly rain right along the coastline. Periods of rain there for the Panhandle, heaviest along the coast, lighter amounts inland. And for Friday, this low tracks westward, weakens here. That's going to keep the northwest winds on the breezy side for Kodiak Island. Mostly dry conditions there, with most of the shower activity offshore. But along the western Alaska Range, actually western Cook Inlet up to the Alaska Range, could be some light snow continuing there up on across the park and through Windy Pass. And the trough keeps showers along the North Gulf Coast, and a weak low keeps it unsettled and damp over the Panhandle, but winds on the light side. And this weak system here brings some light snow into Nunivak Island on up to the Bering Strait, including St. Lawrence Island. And weak trough over the eastern part of the state keeps some light snow showers there. Otherwise, not too bad here from the North Slope down into the Yukon River areas all the way out to the southwest coast. Light winds with some clearing will extend from Bristol Bay right on up into Norton Sound and the Kobuk Valley areas and the western Brooks Range. Out to the west, a much stronger system bringing storm force winds into the western Aleutians, with gales and rain spreading in toward Adak Island in the afternoon. We'll see on Saturday that low pressure area tracks northeastward there, with a very active strong front pushing gale force winds, possible storm force winds here up over the northwest Bering Sea area, and rain and wind push into the eastern Aleutians, and a trough south of that low center swings in, bringing good gale force winds, possibly storm force winds into the western Aleutians with rain and snow. High pressure, light winds here over the north central interior. So looking at some areas of light snow here over the east side, mostly from the Alaska Range on up to the eastern Arctic coast, mostly in the eastern Brooks Range there. Arctic coast mostly dry, some flurries with a very weak system up here just off the northwest coast there. And showers continue here with this low starting to slide southward, and definitely a lot weaker than it has been, but this southeast flow keeps showers banked up right along the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound into the eastern Kenai Peninsula area. Another system coming northward spreads wind and rain up toward the southern southeast coast in the afternoon. And for the lows tonight, single numbers and teens over much of the interior, with mid-teens all the way down into the Kuskokwim Valley, 20s out to the southwest coast, lows 15 to 25 for south central Alaska, near 30 for Kodiak, and staying mostly in the mid-40s over the southern southeast coast. Highs for tomorrow, lower 40s to lower 50s for the Panhandle, lower 30s here for south central Alaska, and teens and 20s in the interior, mostly 15 to 20 for the northern valleys here, right out to the Arctic coast. And then the lows on Friday morning, anywhere from 0 to 15 above from the Alaska Range here, right up to the Arctic coast, and on out to the west, Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, lows in the 20s. Same thing for Bristol Bay. Mid-30s for the Alaska Peninsula, mid to upper 30s here for the Aleutians. And for the highs, 40s, still looking at some lower 50s there around Prince of Wales Island for the highs Friday afternoon there on the southeast coast. Otherwise, lower to mid-30s in the Susitna Valley, mid-30s to near 40 for the Kenai Peninsula, and 15 to 20 in the central interior. Teens north from there, and then lower 20s for the Arctic coast.